Is this just, a witch hunt against Suella Braverman? Was she, frankly, an idiot to do speed and then to ask a civil servant about it? Where do you stand on all of this?
Well, as you live and breathe through various stories that come and go, I mean, this one, it's got to be one of the most flimsy. And I've been trying to sort of cut this down as to where the mischief is. Is it that she speeded? Oh, well, I'm sure she wasn't happy about getting caught by the variety of speed cameras that now exist around the country. I think you're lucky to escape one at all as you go through life. She's certainly joining a strong cast and company, including Sir Keir Starmer, Andy Burnham, and even the Archbishop of Canterbury. So I don't suppose anybody's terribly upset about that. It's sort of a factor of life of driving on British roads.
Getting a speeding offence, again, that exactly, especially now roads have gone down to many cities, 20 miles per hour everywhere. Again, she admitted she shouldn't have done it. She was the Attorney General at the time. But again, it's a mistake millions of us make every year, apparently. But the question is, should she have asked a civil servant?
I said the second mischief is that she dared ask her civil service, one of her staff, is there an alternative? Is there a one-to-one course available? Is that the mischief? Now, I don't know about you, but I mean, if you're a chief exec of a major department, which effectively the Attorney General, as Attorney General she was at the time, to ask a staff member about something surely is not a mischief. I mean, where are we going to have next? We're going to have complaints going in if she dare ask one of her staff for a cup of tea in the morning. I mean, I'm also sort of reflecting that you don't tend to see many celebrities getting advertised that they're on a speed awareness course.
Yeah.
And you know why? It's because one-to-one courses are available if you're happy to pay for it. So this is not an uncommon sort of event. Yeah. But, is that the third mischief, that she dared ask for a one-to-one course? I mean, if they're available and you're willing to pay for it, well, so's the rest of the population. I'm really struggling to know where the mischief is here. Well, but it seems to be another civil service, as Dobbs are in.
This is the thing, because it seems to me how this should have worked is she's got is there a one-to-one course thing? I've heard, again, completely illegal. The implication of social media when this emerged was, this is a completely illegal thing to do. No. Now, there isn't a security implication. She can turn up with a security team. Also, by the way, in 2021, these were definitely being done on Zoom. I know people who've done Zoom speed awareness courses, in the last few months. So I know that's still going as well. So I don't know why that couldn't have happened. But, okay to ask the question. But surely the response to the civil servant should have been, I can't deal with that, Secretary of State, because that's a private matter and I would not be allowed to deal with that. End of discussion. But instead there's been complaints to the Cabinet Office. It's gone all the way up now to the Prime Minister and his independent ethics advisor, Sir Laurie Magnus. I mean, if this is what people in government, supposedly the best and the, first-class civil servant, best in the world, if this is what they spend their time doing, basically writing HR complaints over things like this, no wonder the country's in the state it's in.
Well, I mean, also, I don't know what the world media and the world must think of us, actually. You had the Prime Minister in Hiroshima just a few days ago, discussing about the growth of China and the threat that poses, the problems of Russia, well, nuclear-armed potential enemy, and the good news about having new deals with Japan and investment in the UK. And what did the BBC and ITV want to ask when he's on the podium? They wanted to ask about Suella Braverman's 3 points on her licence. The world's media must think this country has gone completely stark, staring mad. And I think the media needs to take a very good look at itself and go, yes, we're here to report news. We're not here to report tittle-tattle. But, of course, it seems right of centre, cabinet ministers and ministers in general are now fair game. We saw what happened with Dominic Raab and that very sad outcome last night, that he's not going to stand for re-election again. They certainly had their scalp that time, and it makes me wonder whether this is exactly the same playbook because it's been proven to work.
Well, I mean, and this playbook does work. Now, I think we all know one of the reasons why Dominic Raab has resigned, because he's facing a very strong challenge from the Liberal Democrats. It's unlikely he'll actually win his seat next time round. Even the prospect of sitting on the back bench is probably, someone who could earn big numbers as a lawyer or in the city. He's thinking, not really worth his while. But the key thing here for the Prime Minister is he's lost 3 cabinet ministers, all for very different reasons in 7 months. Nadeem Zahawi, Gavin Williamson and Dominic Raab. Can he afford to lose a 4th cabinet minister? And is this going to keep on happening? We saw, as you mentioned, Dominic Raab, Priti Patel, Suella Braverman. We are seeing a sort of, just a litany of complaints being made against certain ministers. I've no doubt some of these ministers bring some of this on themselves, a bit difficult to work with, and the like. But there does seem to be, it always seems to be the case, it's always Brexiteers, and I just can't imagine what the coincidence is about.
Well, I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but yes, there seems to be something of a pattern here. But the opposition, they can't seem to get us on policy, and particularly what the Home Secretary is trying to do in terms of the illegal migration bill, a very, very key issue. There's going to be I'm sure, some very poor figures out this week on legal migration. But that's the thing that the public wants the Secretary of State to be focusing on. I have not had one email in my inbox, and you can imagine I get lots about just about everything that goes on. I've not had one of complaints about this. I think people are shaking their head, saying, "What on earth have we become?"
Well, again, especially given this is the Home Office. Can I ask you about the story? I mean, some new details just emerged. A riot breaking out in the streets of Ely in Cardiff last night after a very serious car crash. In which large crowds of people, we're told up to 150 people, gathered around a fire in the road. There was a car set on fire, paving stones dug up and thrown at police, a police vehicle, the windscreen smashed, at least 6 police vans with riot police were called to the scene. And really, really unpleasant scenes happening on the roads there. It has now just been revealed that 2 teenagers did die in that serious road crash. It was shortly after 6 p.m. on Snowdon Road yesterday. And their unverified posts on social media, I have to point out, have been speculating the collision had been caused by a police chase. Police have advised people not to speculate online and said that the crash happened before police arrived. We don't know all the details on this, but it does appear that when emergency vehicles, police, ambulance and others arrived on the scene, they were under sustained attack by people in the street. Now, this is the sort of thing that most of us would want the Home Office, in charge of the police ultimately, to be dealing with, sort of absolute anarchy on our streets, do you not think?
Absolutely right. Well, my thoughts are with the family of those who've died in this dreadful accident. But yes, I'm afraid there were other scenes over the weekend of youngsters going berserk in Wembley, jumping all over cars. There seems to be a complete lack of discipline, a lack of allowing the police services to do what we want them to do and what they need to do. And I saw the story just flash up just before I came on, Julia, so I don't know any more details than you've told me. But yes, I'm afraid these are the pressing issues of the day. And there's pressing issues that we want the police and the emergency services to be dealing with, and not talking about 3 points and a licence to somebody. But yes, I'm sure this story will develop during the day, and it sounds absolutely horrendous. And I'm afraid too often we're seeing something of a breakdown of law and order across this country, and that's what we need to be focusing on.
Indeed. I just finally want to ask you, as we see the latest net borrowing figures for the government, they've swelled to 25.6 billion last month, basically amid the cost of the energy support scheme, high interest rates, higher benefit payments as well. This at a time when James Cleverly, the Foreign Secretary, apparently his aides, I'm assuming he didn't sign the lease himself, has leased a £40 million private jet, the one they used to film the Succession scenes on that hit TV series. I mean, it's as luxury a jet as you can possibly get. Is that appropriate at these difficult times when so many people are struggling with their bills and we've got such high net government borrowing?
Well, we've got a very limited fleet of government planes. I mean, far less than other countries of our size might have. And one can only assume that the one that would usually be used was being used by the Prime Minister to go to Japan and securing that 17.1 billion of investment in the UK. I don't know what was on the market out there. It could have been that...
You mean you don't hire private jets every weekend, Craig?
No, of course you don't. But I mean, it's not unreasonable for a senior government ministers to be, travelling unusual times to unusual places, and for a charter jet to be hired. I've seen the pictures of this jet, and it does look rather nice. I'll give you that. But I mean, I wasn't part of the contract. I don't know if they went out to the market and said, "Can we have a low to medium range one, please?" And they say, "Sorry, they're all taken. This is the only one we've got, so you're going to have it." So. No, it's not unreasonable, I don't think, for foreign secretaries and senior secretaries of state to be travelling around the world on private aircraft. We accept it for the Prime Minister for obvious reasons. It's not unusual for foreign secretaries. But yes, I can see that the opulence of that jet was quite something. Yeah. But as I say, there might have been the only one available, and it was a take it or leave it. So
yeah. I've travelled with Prime Ministers on private jets before, and it's never looked like that. Craig Mackinlay, Conservative MP, thank you very much indeed.